What's up, guys and gals? It's Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for 7 Deadly Sins, chapter 336. And as you can no doubt tell from my sweater, from my lovely Christmas attire, we have to say, fa la 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 la, Arthur is broken. What do you guys think? Do I need a new singing career? Is that what I need? I need a singing career. I can do the low. I can do fa la 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 la. Arthur is broken as hell. Broken. Not a bad thing. Let's move on. Let's get into the chapter because I've already re-recorded this twice and I feel like I'm talking way too much about the direction of this new arc, and this really isn't the time or place for this. So I got a pizza on the way. So here's the deal. This chapter, I thought was good. I got some flack, if people are still saying that word. I got some flack in the last review where I think I just didn't present it right. Maybe that's on me. I thought I was pretty crystal clear that I thought that the chapter, though had its issues, was interesting and intrigued me for the next part. They're not just, drying out that lemon into a husk, trying to make lemonade. This is actually interesting to longtime fans of the series. It's got its intrigue. It has me hooked. It has me excited for the next chapter. Whether it'll be good or bad, I'm still skeptical, but I'm interested. I think it's good. Apparently that didn't come across well looking at my comment section a little bit there on the last review. Just wanted to clarify that this chapter, once again, though terrible for Arthur's character, in my opinion, for a character arc, for character development, for just being used as literally Merlin 2.0 plot device central for the arc, it's bad for his character, what happens, but it's good to jump the gun. Let's get into this. I think it's good for the manga overall. Sacrificial lamb style, right? Sacrifice the character's growth and development and good character for the sake of making the manga get back up to good graces again. I have that feeling for some reason. I don't really know why. It just appears that way because take away the random, Arthur becomes King of Chaos, right? Take that away, the Arthur point. All of this is actually Merlin's story. And Merlin's story has been semi-foreshadowed for a while that there's something else going on. We knew all the reasons for almost everybody else. Escanor's kind of lackluster in the end. Could have been dealt with better. But we knew the backstories of everybody. Merlin was the last mystery. And now things are starting to happen. Beginning of the chapter, last chapter, the ending of this chapter, all leading into that. It's not really Arthur's story we're into here. Arthur is a factor, is an effect from the main cause. The cause here is Merlin and her backstory, the final story of the last sin that we know nothing about. If you look at it from that perspective, this chapter was far better than a lot of the previous chapters in the way they were handled. The visuals here were also wonderful. Pretty much at the end of the last chapter, we already know something about chaos. I mean, there's a million questions, and I'm excited to find out the answers. But we have even more questions this chapter because we see Arthur. He's double over in pain, trying to figure out what's happening to himself. Merlin is saying, calm down, control your power. The power of chaos is inside you. Awaken King of Chaos. She's basically saying you have to awaken the king to awaken the chaos, and then chaos is then retaken by the king. So it's some type of cycle to come full circle, it seems. That's a dialogue thing. Don't quote me on that because the better translations aren't out yet. But that seems to be the case here. Regardless, Arthur is now the vessel to become the King of Chaos to control it. We see Mama Hawk freaking out, and we know that she's supposedly the mother of chaos. That'll be brought up here in a little bit. And it seems to be this whole thing. Now, they're all worried about Arthur because Arthur's like, it hurts, Merlin, why? Help me. Doesn't know what's going on. All the sins are going, what's going on? What are we going to do? Meliodas finally flies up and says, enough. Arthur, Merlin, what have you done? Arthur, remember, when Arthur went under, when he was a little bit of shish kebab here, Meliodas was evil. Meliodas was leader of the Ten Commandments, going to be the next demon king. So his eyes go black again. He goes this King of Chaos mode thing, and he goes, you, Meliodas of the Demon Clan, I will never let you have Britannia, and then nothing. nothingness, and then reality bending. This is some like Alice in Madness Returns video game. This is some like some screwed up friggin' abstract friggin' reality warping bending. I haven't seen. This is so well done. We have everyone still alive but walking in different areas. Meliodas and Bond are separate from everybody else. Everybody else seems to be together. They don't understand what's going on. We see like Gother standing in midair, but it does like on a building that should be this way. Deanne and King or Elizabeth are standing that way. You know, we see faces, we see beings, we see birds, we see mountains, we see animals with like I think this was Nakaba's turn to just like recycle bin dump and like crumple it all up and throw it on a page because it was just like a mixture of everything. It was actually wonderful. It was fantastic. Great visuals. It was really great. We see Meliodas go salt mode and stuff, and he's like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Gotha recognizes that it's not a hallucination. This is actually reality. We see that Meliodas, after fending off a couple attacks here, here's Arthur's voice in his head basically saying, like, it's not what, you know, it's what you think of others, not what other people think of you. Meliodas, I looked up to you. Sir Meliodas, I admired you. Why? You know, sort of idea. And he's like, Arthur, because, of course, Arthur doesn't know the story. Merlin shows up, hugs him, and basically says, calm down, control your power. Meliodas did not betray you. It's all right now. And then basically like a little extension to that, and everything's back to normal. This, we'll get into the later half of the chapter next. There are some problems, but this is broken. We thought, have a drink for this one because you're going to need a little bit of alcohol to try to understand this. At least I do. That's my excuse to always drink alcohol. There's always a reason to drink alcohol. In this case, it's Arthur and his broken reality bending, reality warping, reality dimensional magic. Which Merlin seems to think is his like original magic. Like this is his purpose. This is the magic they wanted to awaken. Imagine him awakening this power during the Hendrickson fight. Oh, you'll have to draw my magic power out of me, Hendrickson. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Wouldn't be much of a series now, would it? Like this is kind of OP. Like just a little bit. This is making the Demon King and Supreme Deity look like fodder in comparison. Like I understand that you have to up the ante. There's no joy in taking a character like. Not trying to step on toes here, but I feel like One Punch Man kind of did it. But we aren't finished this arc yet. But you don't take a villain that can blow up a planet, and then the villain of the next arc can blow up a country. That's not upping the ante, people. You need to have at least the same level of power, and for some reason, the same thing won't work against this guy or something, or it was a really tough battle, or you up the ante and have someone even stronger. That's usually the progression for most stories or most manga and stuff. You know, you don't read about the weaker people later in the story. You read about the people that got stronger and stronger. It's just simple progression. But this is a big jump. And it happened, literally, I understand that we were all sick and tired of the Demon King. Like 505,000 time that he came back from the dead for another fight that went nowhere, that he was defeated again. Like, how many forms did we have to defeat the Demon King in? Like 4? He had his Purgatory form, he had his Meliodas form, he had his Soul Purgatory form, he had his Zeldris form, he had like 800 Zeldris. He had more forms than Frieza has of Zeldris form. Then he had, once again, Purgatory form again, where he pretended to be Gela and all that shit. And then he had the form where he was a mountain. And I think that's it. I think that's all of them. But that's like that's like 15, 20 forms. So lots of battles, lots of forms. I understand that we were sick and tired and we wanted to jump right into the thing. But there wasn't even any time to wait. We basically had Escanor's death. And then boom, we're going to wake up Arthur and start the next arc. There's very little transition time. There is no reverie of or levery or whatever they call it now, because R's and L's in Japanese, like from One Piece, there is no transition into the next arc. There's no 2 chapters of we're going to jump away from the main cast for a while, we're going to explore a little bit for 3 or 4 chapters, find out, do some world building, find out how the world is affected by the... No. We do very, very little of that, it seems. It's basically like, boom, here's Arthur, let's go. Not saying it's a bad thing, but we have upped this ante. Like, boom, we just defeated a supposed god. Now we have someone who actually can reality and dimension warp. Like, without even trying. I mean, I feel like we got some Kaguya, some Yuabach, Naruto, Bleach, for those of you who don't get the reference, ending thing going on here, because it's never written well how to handle characters like that unless you have another reality warper. And we've literally just nerfed Meliodas by giving up his god form to destroy the 10 Commandments. So this is... I don't know how if this is going to be written well, but once again, it's intriguing. What does it all mean? Why is Mama Hawk supposedly the mother of chaos? Why is she howling? How does this connect with her? Was she just a vessel to carry it? Is she the embodiment? Where's her connection? Merlin doesn't seem to acknowledge it very much. Merlin, what's her involvement? We see at the end of the chapter there's some stuff going on there. What's this master they serve? What's the King of Chaos represent? What does it mean? We get way more questions than answers here. Not a bad thing, but I'm curious about how this is going to be handled. And either way, what do you guys think of Arthur being this OP at this point? Now, the next half of this chapter leaves us wondering, who is this person? I think that's what we're all wondering. I proposed last chapter that it's the Lady of the Lake. But what do you guys think? Now, this part basically says that after the fact that where we left off, Arthur snapped out of it. Merlin helped, basically saying, don't worry, Meliodas didn't betray anybody. Calm down, control your power. And basically everything went back to normal. After this, we have a time skip, a page skip that leads us to believe that everything was explained to Arthur. In what form of detail, how much, we don't know, and I think this is a bit of a mistake on Nakaba's part because it was the most criticized thing I saw for this chapter. Honestly, I expected the fact that Arthur got OP level, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure level powers. I thought that would be the big thing, but apparently not. People are just ticked that Arthur forgives Meliodas, like, water under the bridge, no big deal, sort of attitude towards this, because pretty much that's what happens. We have a little bit of a skip, but I'm sure it's 20 minutes maybe. They're still all in the same location and everything, and they're basically talking, and he's like, wow, I really messed up, I really apologize, I couldn't control it. And Arthur and Elizabeth and Meliodas, they're all basically chatting here and say, no, I should apologize. No, me first, Everything's fine. Basically, they have a Canadian standoff right here. Everyone's like, no, I should apologize. No, I should. It's like, don't go to Canada and hold the door open for someone. Trust me. You guys will literally be standing there in a deadlock. Like, after you. No, after you. No, after you. Trust me. It's terrible, especially in the winter. So, either way, what happens here is simply, then we move on to the good stuff. Now, I understand I'm glossing it over, but I really think that something was probably explained, and though I would have liked Arthur to say, I think it's a pacing thing where right now I'm sure Seven Deadly Sins cannot be doing that well. I'm sure there's pressure from the editors for Nakaba. There's pressure to, you want to keep going, get on with it. Let's do this. He doesn't have time for that reverie stuff. He doesn't have time for that transition chapters. He doesn't have time to sit on the laurels. We need to get this new arc underway, this ending, whatever it's supposed to be, we need to get it underway. That's my reasoning right now, because that's the only reason that we're jumping forward so quickly, because it would have been nice to at least have a line, if that was the case, where he says, okay, I don't fully understand everything, and though I can't agree with everything you did, I am glad that Sir Meliodas is back to his usual self, by all accounts, and back, just a simple throwaway line of dialogue that explains that Arthur might not fully grasp what happened, or at the very least is not fully on board with this, but his hero is back, his idolized Sir Meliodas, a similar like a Gil Thunder thing here, and he's willing to hear everyone out over time to figure out where everybody stands, you know? Something like that, not just this quick, oh yeah, everything's cool. So I do agree with that. Now, here's where we get serious eye, okay, that, serious eye. Meliodas here saying pretty much, Merlin, alright, time for you to pay the piper. What did you do to Arthur? Here's where we get basically something that I won't say I called it, kinda did, kinda didn't. I always said there had to be a yin-yang. You know, I took the Fire Emblem reference saying, okay, if there's a chaos, there has to be a balance. You know, there's demons, there's goddesses, there's Supreme Deity, there's Demon King. There's chaos. Well, chaos needs to be balanced by something. It's got to be something like that. So I said, okay, if there's chaos, there's the mother of chaos. Where's the father of balance? I always said there has to be a yin-yang effect. It is, but they call it chaos. Basically, the embodiment of the yin-yang system. So I'll take a half point. Are you guys okay with that? Can I take like half a W, basically a V? Can I take a V? I think I deserve a V for this one because I've been saying that literally for years. Like 2017, I was saying that stuff. So, like, we're into it now, and I'm taking that V. So, either way, what this boils down to is that chaos is simply an embodiment of energy. It's basically God, but it's God in energy form. It's pure and impure. It's perfect and terrible at the same time. It's everything. It's light and it's darkness. It's everything. It's something that the demons feared as the blackest of darkness, and it's something that the goddess revered as the whitest of lights, you know? That kind of stuff, right? Or the shining or whatever. And it was called chaos. The wise men of antiquity called it the mother of chaos. And we see Mama Hakia, once again, not referenced properly here. Something else is going on. Basically said, okay, now this power basically was said to create everything from nothing. This was the Big Bang. This power, this thing, was before the Big Bang and created the Big Bang, pretty much. That's what Merlin is explaining here, in easy terms. Now, this is where she basically says, so now, Arthur, you are the king of that chaos, and you are going to lead Britannia into the new age and everything. This is great. Now, here's where we have a bit of an issue. Even, like, everyone's like, what? And Arthur's like, I'm supposed to do what exactly? This is where Meliodas, once again, still pissed, goes, Merlin, was this your wish? Like, why would you ever unleash something that supposedly, and Elizabeth and Meliodas are shocked by this. Now, this is where I also saw some people, and I agree. Supreme Deity and Demon King were created, apparently, from this chaos. But nobody else knows about it. Meliodas doesn't know about it. Elizabeth doesn't know about it. Find it hard to believe. I really do. Unless this could be explained well, but the Supreme Deity and the Demon King were created by chaos, apparently. There was nothing. They were created by it. The gods were created by this. But nobody knew about it. It just seems a bit of a stretch. And Meliodas, I agree with Meliodas right offhand. Like, he's not accepting of this at all. He's like, why would you do this? Why would you unleash this power? We just literally got rid of the only problem power factor in all of existence right now. Supreme Deity apparently dead. I still don't know where we found that information. I don't remember it. But apparently she's dead. So Demon King's dead. No problem. Why would you literally 5 seconds after that's done unleash a power on par or stronger, definitely stronger by the sounds of it, than the Demon King? And put it into Arthur. Like, the level of responsibility, as I think Meliodas summed it up perfectly when he said, why would you bestow this as a blessing? Why would you give this power? Why would you give it form? Why would you give such a blessing and such a curse to Arthur? I agree with that. That's the best way to explain it. Like, yeah, this might seem great, but this is also a curse. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Escanor, sunshine, he viewed it as a curse, even though he was the man of mans among it. He is the Chad. He's the flexor of the community, of the whole anime community and stuff. This man didn't even think the grace was a grace. He saw it as a curse. we saw the reasons. So we're talking tiers up from that. This ain't sunshine no more. We're talking tiers above that. The level of responsibility. With great power must come great responsibility. No, with OP power comes OP levels of responsibility. And like Meliodas is just sitting back like, what? What are you doing? And I have a question. If God mode, Meliodas, presence alone, not using any magic, was destroying the country at the very least, if not the world, and the Demon King's presence was doing the same thing, how is Arthur standing here and the world's not like literally one big hurricane right now? That's an inconsistency that kind of bothers me. Just a little bit, actually quite a bit. Like, okay, so you have a power that created a power. That power was split in two, and that one half of the power is enough to, by presence alone, destroy the earth. But when you jump back up that food chain, that power can exist now in a new vessel of Arthur, clearly in use. Nobody gives a shit. No problem. The earth is fine. You know, a little bit of a head cock there on that one, right? Just for me, a little bit of puzzling going on in this puzzler up here. You know, to quote the Grinch. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So, as I said, at that point, she explains a little more, and then we get into the fact that, like, Meliodas is pissed. Basically said, was this your wish? Merlin says, my wish. And basically, the lake seems to be talking again. Is this the Lady of the Lake? Once again, I brought that up before, so if it is, I'm taking that W, because I did say, like, will the lake... Back when we first found out about the lake and the Demon King versus Bloody Ellie and Meliodas, I said the Lady of the Lake might be relevant later on. This could be important. It could tie back to Excalibur and Arthur. It clearly did. So if this is the Lady of the Lake, this is a big thing. Okay, called it back then. Just saying. It was an easy call. Arthurian legend would lead you to that, no problem. But either way, so the Lady of the Lake, that begs a question. Is the Lady of the Lake the master? Or is there some other master? Is the King of Chaos the master? If that's the effect, then what's the Mother of Chaos mean? There's still a lot of questions and not a full amount of answers. We now know what Chaos represents. It's basically the energy, the life force. It's the Force, to use a Star Wars term. It's the Force. That's what Chaos is. It created everything. It binds everything. It can destroy everything. It's the Force. Okay. So to summarize in a maybe not so accurate but easy way. Got it. That's the only answer we really got this chapter. Clearly, Arthur can still be himself. He's not going to turn into some crazy fraudulent-looking thing, like some transmutation gone wrong, Full Metal Alchemist thing, you know. But outside of that, yeah. So, but what did you guys think of the chapter? What did you think of it? Because I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I want to see more of what's going to go on. I'm excited for 337. We probably won't get that to the new year, but I'm happy to say that this is still, it hasn't restored my faith in Nakaba. A couple chapters aren't going to do that. And there are still issues here, but in the grand scheme of things, I think this is exciting, and I'm willing to keep reading, I'm willing to keep reviewing, and we'll just have to see where this goes. We'll have to see where this goes. As I said, this is Merlin's story, not Arthur's, so I can forgive Arthur being used as a plot device a little bit, since it wasn't so relevant in any major aspect in this story thus far. So him being basically categorized as a plot device and, you know, basically destroying his character arc a little bit with this, here you go, prophecy kid, here you go, powers of gods. Okay, it destroys him a little bit, but this is Merlin's story now we're into. It's not really Arthur's in that way. At least that's the way I view it. But what do you guys all think? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Please like, subscribe, comment. It's always very much appreciated. Don't forget to hit the bell notification if you guys want to know every single time I drop a video. And if you're interested in talking with me and a lot of other great people, don't forget to hit that Discord link down in the box below. There's an eternal link there or something like that they call it. Eternal infinity. I don't know. An infinite link there for anyone who wants to join. Feel free to do that. Drink responsibly as always. This has been Griever with your Behind the Bar reviews for chapter 336 of 7 Deadly Sins. See you back here next time, guys, and Merry Christmas.